How do you motivate developers?
Make it, like, get it done. Your special days.
Remember, kids.
Yeah, like, beware.
Where to push, like in a good way.
Team does not care about the timeline.
Yeah, it's hard to remember the last name. Today my guest is Hanna. Hanna has more than 7 years experience in project management, and today she will try to answer to almost all my questions about product or project management. Project management. So the first question, what is the difference between product and project management?
Okay, those are two different areas. Basically, product management is about delivering the right product, delivering the solution itself. Like, product managers focus on what we are building, right? They create the marketing strategy, the selling strategy. They focus on the specific software or whatever we're building. Mm-hmm. They care about selling the thing that we're building. Mm-hmm. And project managers are responsible for the process of building it. So basically, give me an idea, give me a technical description, and my job is to make sure that the team will deliver it on time with the proper quality and like without within the timeline that you have.
Okay. Can we say like you work on a product manager?
I wouldn't say it that way, but technically, yeah, product managers are often our bosses to some extent. So they give us the direction, give us the vision, and project managers just make sure that it gets done.
And like the product manager is the next step of project manager's career, or it is the separated
No, it's a
branch?
Separate sphere. Yeah, it's kind of separate because it involves a lot of external focus for a product manager. Because product managers need to understand the market, the competition, the overall context on this market. And project managers tend to focus on the internal stuff, on the environment within the company, like on the resources available, finances, all of that. So yeah, it's a good thing if a project manager understands the context as well. It's really helpful, right? Because otherwise you may run into different risks. But it's not their job to know the market on the same level.
Like you told that you managed the project to be delivered on a time, like not miss deadlines. So now I think it's one of the hardest questions. How do you motivate and how do you keep that? How do you motivate developers that they will manage to do it on time?
Well, for the most part, the team does not care about the timelines, right? People care about things that bring value to them, like getting new expertise, just getting better at their job, delivering something they can be proud of. Those are basic things connected to personal motivation. And there's actually a great book about that, and I could really recommend it. It's called Drive. Written by Daniel. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to remember the last names.
Yeah, last names are the worst. Daniel Pink. So it basically says that people who work in creative professions, including IT sphere, they are not exactly motivated by money. They are not motivated by the increase of income. They are demotivated by it. So if you pay a software engineer more money, they will not work better. There are different factors in human motivation that make us work better. And Daniel mentions 3 things. It's autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So if you give people the right and the atmosphere where they can decide how they do their job, how they achieve that goal you set for them, and they have the opportunity to grow, to develop their skills, they will work much better than if you just give them money.
Yeah, I really agree.
Yeah, those are like the basics. But in practice, however, it's not that easy to to implement all that, right? You gotta know your team. You gotta set that rapport with everyone, regardless of whether you like that person. So what I do in my practice, I usually, whenever I join a new team, and it happens often for a project manager because you don't really decide. You just get the project, make it, like get it done, right? So the first step for you is to get to know the people, their motivation, really talk to everyone. I always have those one-to-ones. I always have those monthly meetings, 1 hour for each person on my team every month. And initially they don't know, like don't understand if we really need that. They come like to that meeting like, I don't know
you
what
want
to tell you.
Understand the exact places where to push to make a person be motivated.
Why push? Why
like in a good way. Not push like the buttons exactly what type of task you will give him or what the motivation will get that he will be interested on it. Because it makes sense, because the companies that pay more, they are the companies usually that have legacy code, or maybe very rich companies.
Yeah, I've had examples like that. But anyways, you see, it's not about pushing, right? You can help people achieve their goals, even in the worst project. There are
corporative language.
Blah blah blah. Okay, but you can do that if you align that project's purpose, like project goal, project objectives. For example, building something, you can try, if you have that power to say, you can try and introduce a new framework, a new technology. You can just ask the person if they are hoping to grow in some specific area. You can align that and make sure that those like project goals go in sync with this person's goals. And then the person will be motivated to do better.
Yeah, I think you already gave the answer to my next question, like how to motivate people to treat the project as it's their project, their own project.
And here you're talking about ownership, and it's a complicated topic overall, because often management, especially senior management, expect that people will treat those projects like their life depends on that, right? Like, as if it was their own company. But the truth is, it's not their company. The profit doesn't go to them directly. It goes to the stakeholders, and it's unreasonable to expect people to just care on the same level, right? So you gotta find those personal goals in there, and it's not always possible. And this is something you gotta understand, and you gotta like make your peace with, right? It's not always possible, but you do your best.
You think that because some companies, especially like it actually doesn't matter, it's outsourced as product, that they are failing, and like they like expect more from the engineers, like be like a family and do as it's their own, but it's not even close to their own, and that because they can fail the relationship with the employees, like to not put the right borders.
I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but whenever I hear a manager say that we're a family here, I want to run. It means that you will be staying overtime without pay, that you will be distracted on your holidays, on your special days.
Remember, kids.
Yeah, like, beware. If you hear that the company is a family, no, it's not. It isn't.
You will be overtime.
The company pays you for doing a specific job. And I do understand that sometimes, you gotta go that extra mile. You gotta do a bit more than your contract says, right? But again, it shouldn't be the norm. It shouldn't be expected that you sacrifice your whole life for this company that makes profit. And it's okay, because businesses make profit and they pay us for doing our job, right? But going back to to ownership, circling back to that, we can't expect people to treat something as their own if they have no attachment to it. You don't care about any random company in the world, right? Why would you?
I remember that I read it like very long time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, but it was a book about Elon Musk. He was not popular at that time a lot. I think that there are a lot of books now. I can't remember which one was the one, but he had some situation when he offered his employees stocks or some fixed money, and the employees choose fixed money, and he was very disappointed and angry, and like no one believes on it.
Because it's safer. They know they will get that money.
Yeah.
They need to live on that money, pay their rent.
Yeah, that because the big companies now, like the Meta, Google, etc., they also offer, or after working sometime, their stocks to make the employees feel like they more work on their own project, and it will make some change. Do you think it works?
To a certain extent. In my experience, people more often think of it as a benefit rather than something motivational, because there is no guarantee that your specific action and the success of a specific project will lead to success of the whole company. And really often it's not the case, because project is a small thing. Projects make portfolios, programs, and those programs go into specific directions set by the management. Like, these are huge, and there are different metrics for that. There are OKRs, objectives and key results. There are KPIs you gotta meet to make this program profitable, bring revenue to the company and all that. But a project, and this is usually the context a specific team and a specific person works in, it doesn't automatically lead to the success of the company. So often people cannot connect those dots, right?
Like it's too small.
They believe that. And it is a manager's job to connect those dots. Yeah,
like a few years ago, I've heard something that I knew a guy, and he said like he cannot work. He didn't like to work on the few companies, and he performed bad. And he said like, I need to open my company. And I also like deep dive in this topic. And actually, I think if you don't take responsibility, if you for now you work on a company and you have responsibility for delivering something, some tasks, some feature, if you don't know how to be responsible for your job, if you will open your own company, you never can like tell anyone work responsible on the part, because you don't know how to do it. You never did it, so no one will believe in you if you never did the same. What do you think?
This precious phrase, fake it till you make it. Often that's what people do, especially those people who open their own companies or start their own like startups or whatever. And I'm not saying that all of them do it, but quite often a person who doesn't have that experience going through it all and doing the hard thing and just doing things right, quite often they just set the metrics, set those goals for the team, and expect people to do their job properly. And the fact that they don't know how to do it really doesn't stop them from expecting other people to do it.
Yeah, and when I look like historically, when Jeff Bezos, for example, he was a department head on some company. Elon Musk also was a developer before he developed, as I remember from the book, some I don't remember, some drivers for like this some game console. Or some game console or something. So they also had, most of them had an experience on working on some company. And I think I saw in the movie of Steve Jobs that he says like he cannot work on someone else, but like he was also the team lead or department head or something on the company. It means so he performed good.
Well, he did walk that path, right? Because he knew what it takes at every stage. And if you don't know the process, if you don't know how the real work is done, you can't possibly not just expect other people to do it good on your behalf. You can't really create the system where people would perform because you don't know how that system is supposed to work.
Yeah, like if you plan sometime in your life, open your consulting company, maybe your outsourcing company, or even your product better. If you work on a company now, just treat it like it's like a game that you are learning everything that you are learning, and you can do the same maybe in 10 years after on your own company or your own product, but you will know all like the mistakes or issues that you did or your teammates did on the company.
Yeah, you got to go in there. You got to learn. You got to know how it works, why specific things are important. Same as with project management, right? It's not just reading a PMBOK and getting a certificate or whatever, and then you're this perfect project manager, scrum master, whatever, and you just go in and deliver any kind of project. No, you gotta make mistakes. You gotta learn. You gotta know why this specific project artifact, this specific document is really necessary. You gotta learn the rules to know which rules can be discarded, which rules are not important, but some of them are essential.
Yeah, exactly. And about the certificates, like I saw on your LinkedIn that we have certificates that I don't know too much about them, like it's PSM1, Safe, Agilist, or I don't know, it's the right pronunciation.
Yeah.
Can you explain about them, how much are they necessary for now if someone's starting project management career?
PSM is Professional Scrum Master, and it's a good start, I would say. I got it just to join one of the projects, I think, because it was a requirement, but usually it takes not too much time. You just learn the basics of Agile. You learn the role and responsibility of a Scrum Master, because Scrum Master is not a job. And I always say that Scrum Master is not a job. It's a role on a project, and anybody can perform it.
Okay.
So
there is no there is no special Scrum. No, there are so like a certificate, but
it's a body of knowledge. It's good knowledge of the framework itself, but on the basis, like the foundation of it all, is Agile Manifesto and Agile Principles, and those are important because you need to understand why Agile was created.
What is Agile Manifesto? What it means?
Agile Manifesto is basically it's one page of Agile principles written by the founding fathers of Agile. And it specifically says only a few statements about the processes being less important than the end result, about people are more important and all that.
Okay.
But in order to use and apply Agile, you need to understand why it was created. It was created because traditional project management, a waterfall approach, failed to deliver results because it was too lengthy. It was you have those gates at every stage, and it takes too long. And the requirements change because the market changes.
But when Agile, like when Scrum especially started, like when it discovered, I think it's always was like it's very hard to develop a like software with waterfall. Like waterfall is when you start from scratch.
People used to do that. Yeah, they created those technical specifications, like 80 to hundreds of pages, and then they moved it to the design stage, and then they got it designed, collected all those requirements, building the traceability matrices. Then that moved into development, only then into QA, and as we know it, into production. But by that point, it was too late because the market changed and users wanted something different.
Okay.
So looking at all that, the founding fathers gathered together, they wrote that manifesto, and that was the start of many, many frameworks that appeared. Scrum is just one of them. It's most popular one for whatever reason, because it has a lot of rules. They say that Scrum is agile. Yeah, it's agile, but it's strict. You got to have those ceremonies for a reason. You got to have those artifacts like the product backlog, the sprint backlog, the sprint goal, which is often discarded, but it's so important. And all of those nuances, all of those peculiarities of the framework, they are in that exam for the certificate. And that's a good thing about certificates. It's not mandatory per se.
The companies doesn't require them?
Depends. Nowadays, it's more common to require. But it's usually CSM, not PSM, for whatever reason. They're basically the same.
What is CSM?
It's another certificate for Scrum Master, just from another organization.
And what about these two, like Safe and Agilist?
Safe Agilist, it's one certificate. Safe Agilist. Safe is a scaled agile framework. So it's used mostly in corporations, in some really big enterprises where you have a bunch of teams, and those teams are aligned within like one art. Art is agile release train. They just have those funny names. But the goal of it all is, again, to align a lot of people with the same objective, with the same goal. And SAFe also focuses on value creation, on this value flow. So it's not only it's not a bunch of different projects in one program for the sake of financing, but it all has the same goal, and all of the projects within this portfolio they follow a specific value creation flow to produce that result. Like, for example, for a specific department, for marketing or for advertising, whatever.
Okay. And I think the last question, how to finish without talking about AI. What is are there any tools? Because for engineers, there are Copilot, and also with ChatGPT, Copilot or GitHub that helps to write a lot of code. Are there any tools that are really very essential for project management? Do you use some things in daily basis?
Oh, that's a good one. Because the complicated thing with AI for project managers is that we already automate a lot of stuff. We already make our life as easy as possible with Excel automations and all of that. And Jira helps a lot, to be honest. But when it comes to AI, you can use it for things like analysis. For example, some scenario-based analysis when you need to create a risk plan or a risk log. It's really useful to provide this context to that GenAI solution, whatever you're using, Gemini, Chat, GPT, whatever. And it's really good in creating some different scenarios and calculating risks, including the financials. It's pretty good at that. So that's one case. But mostly I would still suggest focusing on those basic automations to save yourself some time for more people-related stuff, because that stuff cannot be automated. And you can't just send ChatGPT to talk to your developers and motivate them. That won't work. Don't ask me how I
You
know.
think project management cannot be automated in the future? Like, are there any things that AI can like fully replace? It's very like big question, software engineering community. I don't know about.
A lot of that can be replaced. Absolutely. All those statuses, progress reports, all of that can be automated. Anything that requires software can be automated. But we're still going back to the first question about motivation. People need other people to feel connected. People do not feel connected to the company, they feel connected to other people. And if there is no person who will support them in hard times, or who will simply explain the purpose of it all, then you cannot expect engineers to really put their heart into their work. Yeah. And I know that probably engineering will be automated eventually, but we'll have a different problem by that point, because besides just engineering skills, you need to understand the business context and, again, why the solution is being created. That I assume that
for people.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, it's the same. The principles works for social media, because or company social media, because like people buy Tesla or etc. because of Elon Musk. People know Amazon because Jeff Bezos, because like Steve Jobs, etc. And social media, the same. People, there are some categories, but mostly people like just people not the exactly what the value they give. Like they like the value and etc. But when some social media person like give another value or etc. So the people more accept it and more like it because they like specific person.
Yeah, absolutely. People buy from people and people build for people, because only then it all makes sense and it gives us purpose.
Yeah, like you like a guy that do podcast, for example, and there are some person that you never will listen to him, or never will read his opinion, or you think that is totally wrong. But the guy that you like to watch, he do a podcast with him, and like he start to be interested for you, and you're just listening a different opinion.
Yeah, and you're more open to that opinion.
Yeah, connections like to people make us grow. So thanks a lot for accepting my offer.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
So, cut.